How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal in this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. So Bitcoin is making a bit of a pullback, but that isn't necessarily bad. We'll get into that shortly. Over on the Dixie, we are pushing forward. We did see a retracement here, so Dixie and crypto are acting more correlated right now. Stochastic does want to round. RSI is starting to pull back, so I would watch. VWAP is pushing bullish, but if it weakens on lower time frames, we could round and make a lower high. Then, if that's followed with consistent or lower lows, we will see more bearish momentum. Over on our 4-hour, we are seeing a push forward overall, but we are starting to struggle, so I would watch. We're struggling to hold above our lowest CMAs. If we don't get above those and hold, then it's likely we could reject and continue lower, testing that 102 and possibly breaking lower. Remember, we have a gap around 101. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is pulling back, momentum does want to round, VWAP is making consistent lows, so I would watch. If this continues and we fail to get above that neutral again, we will see continued bearish momentum. Money flow does want to pull back, so overall I would exercise caution. Over on the 2-hour, we are pushing forward, again struggling with EMAs though. RSI is pushing up, Stochastic does want to make a bounce, so watch that. If it maintains above 30, we could see a price action push forward. VWAP does want to break neutral, but it needs a higher high with higher lows from here. Otherwise, momentum will remain bearish, money flow will pull back, and we will see the Dixie sell off. Over on our 1-hour, Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is pushing up, VWAP does want to gain strength. We have higher highs and higher lows on this little wave here, so I would watch if that wave can push higher like this wave, and then prevent a lower low. Momentum does want to push forward, and money flow is gaining strength, so we do look positive here. Again, with the correlation that we're seeing right now, that could be positive for crypto as well. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we continue to run as crypto holds its value better than altcoins. Remember, riskier assets in a recessionary time or any kind of negative time can do a little worse than more stable assets, and Bitcoin is a little more stable than our altcoins, where Bitcoin is a little less stable than traditional stocks. Momentum does want to push down, Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is pushing forward, VWAP does want to remain bullish, and money flow is doing pretty decent. So over on the 4-hour, Stochastic does want to round. Watch, we could start to pull back. RSI is pulling back, momentum has a red dot signaling we do want to pull back. VWAP is getting lower highs, so if it breaks this neutral and gets lower lows, we likely would see a push downward. So we will jump to the total. I don't want to get too low on the dominance there. Over on the total for the daily, remember this is the market cap of all our altcoins. We are pushing that 300 EMA and trying to break. If we do break this EMA, then we could see continued bearish momentum and reject that double bottom possibility. I would watch if we continue to sell off from there. But if we can break up and push forward, we could try to test these other resistances still. Stochastic does want to push up, VWAP is gaining strength, momentum is pushing with a double green dot, that does look positive, and money flow does want to go from red to green, so we could get a trend reversal, pending those lower time frames stay more bullish. Over on the 4-hour, we are running up pretty decent. The highs and lows don't connect too well right here, so it's not a rising channel. Remember, rising channels break you down. This is a bullish continuation, A bullish continuation channel will continue to push you up. Momentum does want to round, Stochastic is pulling back, RSI does want to sell off, VWAP is pushing down, and money flow is weakening, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 2-hour, we are trying to continue forward. Again, we do look pretty decent. The highs and lows don't connect. Momentum does want to break neutral, VWAP does want to pull back. Money flow is trying to break bullish, but if that VWAP rejects, we will see momentum reject, and money flow could break down. That would result in our altcoins likely selling off. Over on the 1-hour, we are trying to break that 250 EMA, but we're struggling. We did try to make a bounce a few hours ago, but that bounce is starting to get retraced. If we continue to retrace from here, we're likely going to push lower. I would watch for a break of that yellow EMA. If we break that, then it would be a little more concerning. Stochastic does want to start to round, so keep an eye on that, as that could lead RSI and price lower. VWAP is bullish, momentum does want to push up, but if that VWAP rounds away and breaks that neutral here, momentum would follow, money flow would break down, and price action would push down on our total, which would ultimately result in altcoins selling off further. Over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we are kind of indecisive as we have this gap. It would have been a little nicer to see this candle body more fill the lower half. That way we would be able to bounce. So I would still watch for a break of this value area low that could break us lower. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI wants to push forward, VWAP is trying to gain strength, momentum is pushing with the green dot, and money flow is trying to gain strength. So we do look positive. I would watch if that VWAP can hold bullish. Over on our 4-hour, we do have a little bit of a retracement. This is a little better looking than the daily for as far as that fill, but again, I would look for a more complete fill. Momentum does want to round. We have a double red dot. Stochastic is pulling back. RSI is starting to pull back. VWAP is breaking bearish, and money flow does want to pull back. So if that VWAP gets lower lows and lower highs from here, momentum will push money flow lower, and we will see Bitcoin futures push down. And as it does lead Bitcoin, that could push Bitcoin lower too. On the 2-hour, we have a bit more complete of a fill here as well. Momentum is dropping, stochastic is weakening, but we do have a bullish cross that could push us forward. That's when blue gets above orange. RSI is pushing forward. VWAP does want to break neutral, so I would watch. If that VWAP holds above neutral, momentum could start to bounce forward, and money flow could start to gain some strength. That would help push those higher time frames up. Over on our 1-hour, we are trying to break that 300 EMA. Watch if we make a rounding top, getting a lower high and lower lows from here. If we do, we likely could push lower and start to reject. However, if we break that 300 EMA and hold above that 61.7, then we could start to continue forward. Stochastic does want to push up, VWAP is pushing forward, momentum does want to gain strength, and our RSI is trying to gain strength as well. So we do look positive. I would just warn against a fill. Possibly we fill this gap. If we break any lower than that gap, that red EMA, then I would be a little more concerned for a further break to the downside. So over on Bitcoin for the daily, we are seeing that same pull back. We did touch that purple EMA. RSI and stochastic do want to round. VWAP is starting to pull back. Momentum is favoring bearish, but we have a green dot. So if that VWAP can sustain bullish momentum, our momentum will push forward and money flow could go from red to green, and we could see a trend reversal, meaning we would have more buying pressure. Over on the 4-hour, we do have that rising channel. Again, that's our bullish continuation, not the rising channel. Remember, when the highs and lows don't connect, that's that bullish continuation. When they do connect, that creates that rising channel. The rising channel breaks you down, where bullish continuation continues you forward. So I would watch if we can break that 300 EMA, and we would also want to break that 63. Otherwise, if we do not break those levels, we hit them and we pull back, it's likely we would push down. Stochastic is rounding away, momentum is pulling back, we have a double red dot, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is in the bearish territory. I would watch if it rejects that neutral. If it does, momentum will push lower, and money flow will continue down. That would result in the daily pushing lower, so I would watch those lower time frames. They need to hold bullish to prevent that. Over on the 2-hour, we are starting to round away. Momentum is pushing down. We have a green dot suggesting momentum does want to push up. That would be dependent on that VWAP breaking this neutral and pushing forward, getting a higher high or consistent highs to this. Money flow is indecisive as well, depending on that VWAP. Our stochastic is kind of weak. Watch that stochastic. If it rounds, it could bring RSI down, which would lead price lower as well. So over on the 1-hour, we are trying to break that 300 EMA just like the daily. Watch out for that. If we break it and hold below, we could end up pushing down. That is the daily on total. Stochastic does want to round, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is pushing down, momentum does want to round, and money flow does want to push down as well. So if that VWAP does break that neutral, momentum will round away here, and that will bring money flow from green to red. That would give us a bearish trend, and if that trend holds for several hours, we could see some sell-off, indicating we broke our strong support level, and we are going to continue lower. So I would watch out for that scenario where we hold below that 300 EMA on both total and Bitcoin. Stochastic is pushing forward on graph, VWAP is pushing up, momentum does want to gain strength, money flow is trying to push forward, and RSI does look a little weak, so I would watch. Over on the 4-hour here, we do have a bit more of that bullish continuation, so this could be positive. Stochastic does want to push up, momentum is rounding, VWAP does have higher lows, so watch for higher highs or consistent highs to keep momentum bullish and push money flow higher. That would help push price action higher as we flip from bearish to bullish. Over on the 2-hour, momentum does want to bounce with that green dot. VWAP is trying to push forward. Money flow does want to push up. Stochastic is trying to push, and our RSI is starting to pull back. So if that stochastic rejects here, RSI will start to sell off, and price action will follow. That would result in those higher time frames weakening. Over on the 1-hour, we are starting to pull back from our 14,316. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is dropping, VWAP is selling off, momentum does want to round, and money flow is struggling to break bullish. So if that VWAP breaks that neutral, we will see momentum make a lower high and push money flow lower. That would result in a sell-off here. Over on Ankr for the daily, we are making a pretty decent bounce from yesterday's candle, but now we're pretty flat. Stochastic does want to round, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is bullish, momentum is pushing forward with a double green dot. So if that VWAP holds bullish, we could see money flow gain strength, but that would be dependent on lower time frames holding more bullish. Over on the 4-hour, we do have that kind of disconnected high and low. If we continue above our yellow EMA, that could create that bullish continuation to help push us toward that 2673. And if we can break that, that's where we would make our move to our next resistance area of our 2883. Stochastic does want to round, RSI is holding its ground, so watch that stochastic close. Momentum does want to round, VWAP does have a higher low. If that VWAP can get a higher high, momentum could push up and money flow could continue to push forward. It would be positive for the 4-hour, as we could see a trend reversal soon then. Over on the 2-hour, we are struggling with our orange EMA, so I would exercise caution. If we cannot break this as kind of our middle of the lane EMA, if we cannot break it, then we could see some further bearish momentum. Stochastic is starting to round, RSI is pulling back, VWAP does have a little bit of bullish momentum, but we could make a lower high. If that VWAP does break down, we will see momentum reject away and money flow could end up breaking away as well. Over on the 1-hour, we are trying to hold above lower EMAs. That is positive as we continue above these higher EMAs. If we can hold above our purple EMA, we could fill that gap right around that 2571. Then if we can break that 250 EMA, we could see about flipping our EMA band, which would give us further bullish momentum to push us forward to those resistances. Stochastic does want to push up, RSI is pushing forward, VWAP is holding bullish, momentum is pushing up, and money flow is holding its ground, so we do look positive there. Over on XRP for the daily, we are seeing a bit of a rounding top. We did say watch out for that red candle, and we did end up breaking away. Remember, you want more confirmation. Otherwise, if you're just buying just because price went up, usually you're going to catch a fallen knife or kind of buy when everyone wants to sell off. So you want to kind of wait till price kind of gives you some hints there. We did see some flatness here, then we saw a bullish candle. We got good news, VWAP was bullish. That gave you kind of the buy indicator. Now our VWAP is pulling back, Stochastic does want to round, RSI is pulling back, and momentum is rounding. So I would watch if we break that 57, we could end up pushing back down toward around that 48. And if we break that, remember we have that 38 range. Over on the 4-hour, we are trying to make a bounce here, so I would watch if we can consolidate in this range. If we can, we could create a bull flag to help push us above the 67. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is selling off, momentum is pushing down, VWAP is holding bearish, and our money flow is pulling back. So if that VWAP does not reverse soon, momentum will continue lower and money flow will break down. That will result in higher time frames weakening and give us further sell-off. Over on the 2-hour, RSI does want to pull back, Stochastic is rounding, VWAP is trying to push forward, momentum is pushing with a green dot, so that does look positive, but watch that VWAP close. If that VWAP rejects here, that green dot could be invalidated, then money flow would pull back and higher time frames would end up selling off. Over on the 1-hour, we are trying to continue forward. I would just exercise caution as we stay pretty narrow. That could create that rising channel. Remember, rising channels, unlike bullish continuations, can break you down, make you sell off. People are getting a little scared with some rumors going on that the SEC is trying to fight back, so we will see. Stochastic is trying to push up, RSI is pretty flat, VWAP is flat but holding bullish, so if that VWAP stays bullish, momentum could push up and money flow could bounce. However, if that VWAP breaks down, we're likely going to see momentum round and that would lead price action lower. Finally, since there are no requests, ALGO for the daily, we did get a little bit of retracement to around that 1176, just shy of the 1150 range. VWAP is holding bullish, but it's pretty flat. Momentum is trying to push up. Our money flow does want to gain strength, but if that VWAP continues to flatten out, we will not see those things gain strength. Stochastic is pushing forward, RSI is trying to pull back, but if Stochastic remains above 30, that RSI could continue forward. Over on the 4-hour, we are trying to break our EMAs. If we can stay above our green EMA and break our yellow, we could continue further. That would give us a push right around that 1250 range. Stochastic does want to pull back, momentum is rounding, RSI does want to pull back, so watch that. Stochastic, VWAP is trying to break down, and money flow is starting to round. So overall, I would exercise caution, much like the rest of the market. Over on the 2 hour, we do have more of a bullish continuation with the higher highs and higher lows that do not connect, so this could be positive, but we need to break that orange EMA and continue forward. Otherwise, we could see that positivity come to an end. Momentum does want to round, so stochastic is pulling down. RSI is pretty flat. VWAP is trying to break that neutral, but I would exercise caution. If it pulls back here, momentum will break down. Money flow will reject that bullish cross, and we will see higher time frames start to sell off. Over on the 1 hour, we are pretty flat here. RSI is pulling back, so stochastic does want to round. VWAP does have higher highs. We're trying to get higher lows, so we are trying to create a bullish trend. If we can continue a bullish trend here, momentum could continue forward, money flow could cross green, and then we could get that trend reversal. If we get that trend reversal and hold above that purple EMA, then we could start to see a push forward. However, if we do not get that trend reversal, I would watch for a rejection of our EMA band to the downside. Thank you for watching tonight's channel. I appreciate all.